had a beautiful thing going with an amazing person, but obviously, due to the validity of the temperature of today's crazy world and culture, I considered I don't want to be such a burden on such an amazing person. So we decided to part. Sucks. But no, not engaged. But guess what? I am in Des Moines, Iowa next. So you better come catch me, nigga. Moolah, baby.
How the hell are you able to maintain at the top when the sound of music has changed from 10 years ago?
You have to be embracing. And you can't be the guy that's the person that's saying, I don't like this new music. I don't.
Or the mumble rap.
Whatever they name it.
Exactly.
You can't say I don't like it. You gotta love it, learn it, like it, and love it. Because you better understand that that's music. You know what I mean? Like, that's music. So that's not a certain type of music. That's music. You go to Apple Music and top 100s, and them folks right there. So that's music. And so therefore you have to embrace that.
Lil Wayne is going viral right now, and it's not for music. Photos surfaced of him with a woman less than half his age, and the moment people figured out who she was, hip-hop hasn't been able to move on since. This is a story about a 43-year-old legend, a 20-year-old influencer from a small town in Indiana, a private engagement nobody saw coming, and a comparison to his own daughter that hit harder than the age gap itself. Let's get into the whole timeline. Here's what's not up for debate. Lil Wayne is reportedly engaged to a 20-year-old woman named Maddie Cannon. To understand why this story exploded the way it did, you need to understand who Wayne actually is to the culture, because the weight of this story only lands once you understand the weight of the man at the center of it. Dwayne Michael Carter Jr. grew up in Holly Grove, one of New Orleans' toughest neighborhoods, and by age 9 had already caught the attention of Birdman, co-founder of Cash Money Records. By 11, he'd officially signed to the label as its youngest artist, a literal child when his professional career began. He came up through the Hot Boys alongside BG, Juvenile, and Turk before going solo, and it was that solo run that separated him from everyone else in the game. Thaw Carter III alone sold over 1 million copies in its first week in 2008, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, and cemented him in the public consciousness as, arguably, the best rapper alive, full stop. Beyond the music, he built Young Money Entertainment, the label imprint that took a young Toronto actor named Aubrey Graham and turned him into Drake, and took an unsigned artist named Onika Mirage and turned her into Nicki Minaj. When a man with that kind of cultural footprint makes a major personal life move, the entire culture locks in. That's just always been true with Wayne, and this situation is no exception. His dating history has never been quiet either, and it's worth knowing before this engagement, because context matters here. His first and most well-known relationship was with Antonia Toya Johnson, his teenage girlfriend from New Orleans, with whom he shares his oldest child, Reginae Carter, born in November 1998. They married in 2004, the only time Wayne has ever officially walked down the aisle, and divorced in 2006. In the years after, he had children with singer Nivea, actress Lauren London, and radio personality Sarah Vivan, over a relationship that ran nearly a decade, giving him 4 kids total, each born to a different mother, each representing a different chapter of his life. He's also had a string of high-profile relationships over the years, worth a quick mention. Trina, a brief but widely covered romance with Christina Milian, and a relationship with Karrueche Tran that generated its own wave of attention. But the one that matters most in setting up this current story is his 2019 relationship with Australian plus-size model Latacia Thomas. That one followed a pattern people are now pointing back to directly. Public appearances together, a prominent diamond ring, real buzz about a second marriage, and then the engagement quietly fell apart in 2020. No formal announcement, just an unfollow and some deleted photos. After that came an on-and-off relationship with model Denise Bidot that reportedly ended for good on Mother's Day 2025, according to XXL. That breakup was the last chapter before Maddie Cannon entered the picture entirely. So who is she? Maddie Cannon, also known as Maddie K, is a 20-year-old model and social media influencer from Kokomo, Indiana, a small Rust Belt city not exactly known for producing hip-hop headlines. Before any of this went public, she had a modest following built on lifestyle and plus-size modeling content, living a relatively normal life with zero public ties to the music industry. How does a man who splits his time between Miami, LA, and New Orleans end up meeting someone from Kokomo? The most consistent explanation floating around entertainment coverage points to Wayne's genuine, long-documented love of skateboarding. He's spoken for years about skating as a lifestyle and a form of therapy, and reports suggest repeated trips to Indiana, tied to its skate community, may be how the two crossed paths. Neither of them has confirmed exactly how they met, but whatever happened, the relationship developed almost entirely out of public view for months. No coordinated posts, no red carpets, nothing. Then TMZ broke the story open. In early 2026, they reported that Wayne had privately proposed to a woman in her 20s from Indiana. No name, no photo, just the bare fact. That was enough to send fans and gossip accounts into full investigation mode. Within days, Indiana-focused pages had identified Maddie Cannon by name, and photos surfaced of her wearing a yellow diamond engagement ring estimated at roughly $100,000. The story had a face now. Then, on July 1st, 2026, a photo emerged of Wayne and Maddie spending time with sports commentator Skip Bayless and his wife, the first real visual confirmation of the two together. Maddie herself began posting affectionate photos shortly after, and just like that, she went from a private 20-year-old in Indiana to one of the most searched names in hip-hop, with every old post and caption getting picked apart by strangers overnight. Now, the controversy has really unfolded on two different levels, and both have fueled intense debate online. The first is the most obvious one, the 23-year age gap between two consenting adults. Supporters argue that both Lil Wayne and Maddie are legally grown adults who have every right to make their own decisions about love and relationships. From that perspective, they believe the criticism goes too far and that what happens between two consenting adults is ultimately their own business. Many people also point out that large age gap relationships aren't unheard of, especially in the entertainment industry, and argue that celebrities shouldn't automatically be judged more harshly simply because their personal lives are constantly in the public eye. Critics, however, see the situation very differently. Their concerns aren't limited to the number of years separating the couple, but focus on the differences in life experience, financial security, career influence, and overall power dynamics. Lil Wayne is one of hip-hop's most established and influential figures, with decades of success, wealth, and industry connections behind him. Maddie, meanwhile, is still in the early stages of adulthood and building her own path. For many people, that's where the discomfort comes from. They argue that two people can both be adults while still being at very different stages of life, creating an imbalance that deserves discussion. Even if nothing inappropriate has occurred, critics believe those differences naturally raise questions that are worth talking about. On its own, that debate would likely have dominated hip-hop headlines for days. Discussions about age gap relationships almost always generate strong opinions, with people split between respecting personal freedom and questioning whether significant differences in age and life experience can affect a relationship in meaningful ways. But the detail that truly sent this story viral wasn't the age gap itself. It was the moment fans started doing the math and realized that Maddie, at 20 years old, is actually 4 years younger than Lil Wayne's oldest daughter, Reginae, who is 27. That single comparison spread across social media faster than almost anything else connected to the engagement. It completely changed the conversation. People who had previously viewed the relationship as just another celebrity age gap story suddenly began looking at it through a much more personal lens. For many observers, comparing Maddie's age directly to Wayne's own daughter made the situation feel far more striking than simply saying there was a 23-year age difference. Whether people supported the relationship or criticized it, that comparison became the defining talking point. Reginae herself has not publicly commented on her father's engagement, and there's no indication that she has chosen to involve herself in the online discussion. Even so, her age has become central to why this story exploded beyond the usual celebrity relationship headlines, turning what might have been a routine entertainment story into one of the biggest debates across social media. Since the story broke, reports have surfaced that Maddie's been joining Wayne on portions of his current tour, with footage showing her backstage before performances, reinforcing that this is a real, committed relationship rather than something the media jumped on prematurely. Meanwhile, Wayne himself hasn't said a single public word about any of it. No statement, no confirmation, no interview address. That's consistent with how he's always operated. He doesn't explain himself to people who didn't ask him directly, and after 3+ decades in the spotlight, surviving label disputes that went to federal court, a viral engagement isn't exactly rattling him. He's still touring, reportedly working on Thaw Carter 6, and performed at the 2025 NFL Draft. This is happening to an artist still fully active in the culture, not someone fading into the background. At the end of the day, this story blew up from a private proposal into a global conversation about age gaps, family dynamics, and celebrity privacy, without Wayne ever saying a word about it publicly. It's genuinely one of the most unconventional, unapologetic chapters in a career built entirely on doing things his own way, from signing to Cash Money as a preteen, to building one of rap's most influential labels. Whether the wedding happens, whether Wayne ever breaks his silence, or whether this quietly fades the way the Latasia Thomas engagement did, the culture's watching either way. What do you think about all of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and check out the video on screen for more